I've also been in contact with the King of Jordan, spoke with members of Congress, directed my national security team to engage with their Israeli counterparts, military to military, intelligence to intelligence, diplomat to diplomat, to make sure Israel has what it needs. We're going to remain in close touch with Prime Minister. I personally am going to remain in close contact with Prime Minister Netanyahu as this situation continues to develop. And let there be no mistake. The United States stands with the state of Israel.
Mr. President, was there an intelligence failure in the lead up to this attack?
Without,
Mr. President, can you tell us what he asked you?
It's just, and that's Anthony Blinken behind him, it appears anyway. It's just really embarrassing. He says all this stuff and they can't even ask him one question. There's always that one reporter, it's the same one, because I know her voice. She always tries anyway. Nobody else tried. She tries anyway, and then he walks away. So they gave him his talking points, they gave him his lines, and he delivered them, and then he gets to go, okay? Because he's not running anything, okay? So what happened this morning is we woke up to news of Israel being attacked by Hamas. All right, so what we need to know, Hamas is not a military, regiment. They attacked civilians in Israel. That's what it appears to be. I have to go with what I saw on Twitter. Some of it I don't believe. I'm going to keep it all the way funky. I don't. Some of it I think that is photo ops. It's opportunities for people to make videos. We'll do the disclaimer. Of course, I don't want to see bloodshed. No matter what position I take. Yes, like Ashley says, it's a messy conflict with an even messier history. It absolutely is. But the way it's being reported, I already know. This is the war. Now I'm not saying we're going to war tomorrow. I want to make it clear. I don't want to put any dates. I don't want to put months or anything on what's happening. All right, we're going to be in war in 2 months. I'm not doing that. But I can tell you that this would be the war that everybody would pretty much stand and be united on. Why? Because you got the Democrat side that doesn't care if they're going to war with a liquid, with a pond. Okay. They don't care what they go to war with. They could go to war with a volcano. And as long as they can just bomb something and sell weapons and get their money laundering going, they don't care. The Republican side, the right-wing side, that's going to say, yeah, we have to go to war because we have to defend Israel. And that's why this is a problem. This would be the perfect, quote, war, okay, that is starting out in a very messy, at a very messy starting point right now today. I mean, it's not just starting today, but the actions of today don't make any sense because Israel is known to have supposedly the best, most ruthless surveillance, basically CIA spy team, Mossad. So how was Hamas able to do this? I don't understand. Why was the Iron Dome down? Iron Dome down. How was this able to happen? So from the minute when I heard this, I said, there's more to this than what meets the eye. Alexander McCurr is part of the Duran. I wanted to see what he was going to say about all of this. And while other people are rushing to assumptions, while other people are rushing into blind opinionated thoughts, I need to get sources that are calm and collected.
Much larger scale events in Israel and in the Palestinian territories. This morning, there are lots of reports all over the Western media about a major missile attacks and incursions by fighters, Hamas fighters, into Israel. There are lots of reports that claim that Israeli civilians have been killed, that Israeli checkpoints have been captured, that Israeli soldiers have been captured. And indeed, there is some evidence, there is in fact conclusive evidence of the latter. The way that this has been reported in the West might lead one to think that this incident has come out of the clear blue sky, that this is an attack that has been launched without any previous warning. On the moon of Alabama, however, there are reports completely unreported in the Western media, but I've no reason to doubt that they are true. But anyway, there was apparently an incursion by Israeli settlers into the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. This is one of the most important religious centers in Islam. And from the language I understand that's coming from Hamas and from other Palestinian officials and spokesmen, this incursion is, in some respects or in some way, a retaliation for that event. I want to make it very clear that I am not fully informed about these events. Focus on Ukraine, perhaps over focus on Ukraine, a fault which I share with many others in the West. It's been complained about often by many people across the global South, perhaps means that little reported or unreported by the Western media events in the Middle East, like this incursion on into the Al-Aqsa Mosque, have apparently happened. And to say honestly, I've not been aware of them. Suffice to say that an event like that would certainly have provoked a very strong reaction from the Palestinian population and from the Muslim community across the world. There has been clearly a major collapse in Israel's intelligence operation. And I find this remarkable. Mossad, which I understand is Israel's main intelligence agency, has a worldwide reputation for tremendous ability. It's a pretty ruthless organization as well. But it's clear to me that the Israeli leaders were caught completely by surprise by these events, that they didn't expect them, and that this has come upon them like a bolt out of a clear blue sky. So clearly something there has gone seriously wrong.
I'm totally with Ashley Casey on what she's saying. I want to be very clear. Am I supposed to care? Because honestly, I don't anymore, unless it was Americans being taken. That is not a bad position to take at all. It's not. You're not supposed to care. The only reason, though, we watch and we pay attention is because they're going to pull us into it in some fashion. Joe Biden just told us we are going to stand with these people for 100%. You have a lot of Christians here who are very confused about what they're reading in the Bible. And they tell you that you have to stand with Israel in order to go to heaven. That's not what the Bible says. And the state of Israel did not exist in Bible times. Eventually, we will go to war with Iran. This is the war. I know conservatives can't wait. They're going to talk about it. They're going to, we're going to go to war with Iran. This propaganda that's been placed in the media for decades that all Muslims are bad. It's not true. People are bad. Not all Jewish people are bad, right? So not all Muslims are bad. It's easier optically. It is easier for people to say, get those jihadis. It's because we've already desensitized to that back in 2001. That's how people were talking. And so real quick, to even go there, the same type of attack that you see happening on J6ers and their freedom of speech and FISA and FBI's, setting them up and raiding them and all of that is the same thing that happened to a lot of Muslims in this country after 9/11. The FBI, they would set up these networks, these fake networks, and trap people and then send them to jail. Okay. There's one guy who went to jail for 15 years for paintball fights in the back because he believes in holy war. That is his religion. But he wasn't really going to start a holy war. They knew he wasn't going to start a holy war. They didn't have enough evidence against him. 15 years in jail for his thoughts, right? But back then, we would not have, it just didn't look right to defend him. Oh, after the buildings went down and look at him, he's a Muslim. We can't defend him, right? So we let the First Amendment go for that. We could sacrifice that because he's not the right kind of person we defend. And this is what I mean. So this is when I come down to saying that the First Amendment is not for what we like. It's for what we don't like. We have to defend this Constitution at all times, because we will set the precedent for it to be used back on us, what they decide to do to us.